The army was not devoid of native talent. Despite the waning of the themes, Nikephoros' Praecepta Militaria encourages recruitment of men from Armenia. Having been the busiest theme due to powerful eastern enemies such as the Arabs and now the Turks, these stalwart men were the elite of native Byzantine warriors. Indeed, the Praecepta encourages, well, I don't need to tell you how to pronounce that. That is, kinship and camaraderie between troops. It is unlikely that a completely mercenary camp with many conflicting cultures could ever build up a sufficient team spirit. Instead it seemed that the Byzantine military had developed from a mostly native seasonal force with some mercenary supplement into quite the opposite. A highly trained, full-time force of soldiers of fortune, fleshing out a basic skeleton of native Byzantine warriors.
Mercenaries had always been elites which served for the imperial tagmata. Now they were a huge part of the Norman army. Full-time professionals, these roving warriors brought some offensive might to the Byzantines. Thus, once again, we see the rising dominance on the battlefield of the heavy cavalry, cataphractoi.
These expensive mercenaries wore lamellar, a weave of overlapping hardened leather, as well as a long male klebanion, complete with knee-length skirts. This was completed with a heavy padded coat, or epichlorion. Their weapons included heavy iron maces and two swords, the older, straight spathion, and the newer, curved sabre, the parmenion. Even the horses wore full armour, so that only their eyes and nostrils were visible. Metal plates protected their hooves from caltrops, and when they charged, one Arab historian said it looked as if they were gliding, so much mail were they wearing. This would have a huge psychological effect on any enemy.
From the Praecepta Militaria, we can see that the cataphractoi were the centre of any 10th century Byzantine army due to their offensive qualities. The cataphractoi would form a wedge and charge right at the centre of an enemy line. Infantry, much more lightly armoured and equipped, were to form double-whipped squares. Each taxiarch was comprised of 400 spearmen, 300 archers, 200 light infantry with slings or javelins, and 100 men of artillery, men with thick and sturdy spears. These menavlion were huge pikes designed to repel heavy cavalry. Therefore we see that the infantry were now for defence and defence alone. Yes, there are more numerous in 10th century armies, but now their duties simply revolved around providing a mobile support and rally point for failed or threatened cavalry.
The square formations mentioned in the Praecepta would simply expand to provide a refuge for broken cavalry, winged with fresh infantrymen. This shows us that warfare had become a lot more organised and professional in these times, centering on the overwhelming charge of heavy cavalry. Nikephoros' Phokas even included contingency plans. For example, if an enemy army was too large, one would simply aim the cataphractoi wedge at the enemy leader and hope for the best. If unsuccessful, withdrawals would include a number of heavily choreographed counterattacks, something only a full-time professional army would be able to exact perfectly. Nikephoros was so exact in his planning that he even included a compulsory prayer to make on all charges. Come to the aid of us Christians, making us worthy to rise up and fight to the death for our faith and our brethren, by fortifying and strengthening our souls, our hearts, and our whole body. The mighty Lord of battles, incomparable in power, through the intercession of the Mother of God, who bore thee and all of the saints. Amen. Rather wordy, don't you think?
Here, bloody hell, you get out of my room!
The Praecepta even mentions methods to tackle espionage. If there is a suspected spy in the camp, simply order everyone back to their quarters. The man left wandering around in the parade square is the spy. Kill him. Absolutely foolproof. Thus we see that the Praecepta Militaria heralded a new age for the Byzantine military. Warfare had become a science, with victory achievable if the correct formula was used. Military men were often encouraged to read classical literature concerning strategy and tactics. whereas these were of little practical use, it became a matter of status to use technical terms, often in Greek, to describe formations, maneuvers, and weaponry. Unlike the thematic strategoi, the new domesticoi, commanders of the Eastern or Western armies, held immense power.
As Byzantium discovered the benefits of aggressive warfare, its armies became more and more important. Nikephoros' Phokas was trying to create a military handbook that would guarantee success on the eastern frontier, chronicling his defeats and experiences in the hope the future generals could use his experience. Some evidence points towards Nikephoros' Phokas having a similar manual in the works for war in the west against the Bulgars. His death would end any hope of this treatise being finalized. Nevertheless, by the end of the 10th century, Byzantium's attitude towards warfare was one of practicality and expansion.